He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, there will never be a future. If not for those regrets, we will never learn from the failures. So keep on standing, no matter how life puts you down. Keep standing back up, because your past creates your future. He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, he's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, there will never be a future. If not for those regrets, we will never learn from the failures. So keep on standing, no matter how life puts you down. Keep standing back up, because your past creates your future. He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, there will never be a future. If not for those regrets, we will never learn from the failures. So keep on standing, no matter how life puts you down. Keep standing back up, because your past creates your future. He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, there will never be a future. If not for those regrets, we will never learn from the failures. So keep on standing, no matter how life puts you down. Keep standing back up, because your past creates your future. He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, there will never be a future. If not for those regrets, we will never learn from the failures. So keep on standing, no matter how life puts you down. Keep standing back up, because your past creates your future. He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That hope derived from the ones that he had lost. That hope confined inside for these people he had left behind. Hoping someday maybe he can change the world. Maybe he can make a difference. Maybe he can. If not for the past, there will never be a future. If not for those regrets, we will never learn from the failures. So keep on standing, no matter how life puts you down. Keep standing back up. Because your past creates your future. He's not running away out of fear. He's running away out of hope. That
And a very good afternoon, everybody. It's me again. So today it's a different topic and from a different pillar. So today we're going to be talking about teaching and learning, which is actually the second pillar in the House of Excellence. So you might remember some of the items that was brought up by Datuk Hamdi, our Vice Chancellor, on some of these pillars. And the last time I came on, I talked about income generation. So today we'll be focused on the second pillar in the organizational excellence, that is on teaching and learning. Okay, so basically what we will be looking at today is precision intervention, elite at a brand new program that we have in Universiti Malaya, as well as I will delve a little bit into the teaching and learning delivery assessment. Yeah, so basically if you remember what Datuk Vice Chancellor brought up in his perutusan, he mentioned that some of the items that we are looking at as far as students are concerned is that we are looking at developing them not just for student development as in the usual, definition, but we would like to set our students apart from other university students because we want to produce leaders. Yeah, so we have been in existence since 1905. So we are the university that produces leaders for the country. So what I will be getting into in the course of the town hall today, in introducing the idea of intervention, precision intervention and elite at program, I will try to put it in the context of why we are doing it, and for the purpose of the faculties and the PTJs on campus, I will go a little bit into how we are doing it. Yeah? Okay, the first initiative that I will start off with is precision intervention. Now, precision intervention basically means that we would like to see what kind of traits our students may have, or what are the traits that we would like our students to have, but they do not have it, or they may be a little weak in it. So how do we do this? We do it through profiling, through a psychometric test. And basically what we would like what we would like to be able to identify through this profiling process is what kind of soft skills we would like our students to be inculcated with, and what kind of psychological capital do we want to identify so that we will be able to produce leaders of tomorrow. So precision intervention in this sense means that once we have the traits and once we have the criteria, faculties and various different PTJs in the campus community will be able to do precision intervention based on those traits that the students lack. Now, this is, just as a starting point. I will be explaining in greater detail in a while. Now, basically what we have already incorporated in the system, in the faculties, is actually a system of intervention. Okay, deans, directors of the various faculties actually already know this. It's part of the KPI since a couple of years back. What we had wanted for faculties to do is to come up with intervention programs for the students in order to identify, some weaknesses in them, and perhaps, do some intervention programs in order to help them overcome some of those weaknesses. But in the pillar that our Vice Chancellor had introduced, we would like to be very precise in the kind of intervention that we do. Okay? So how do we do this? This initiative really started from a couple of years back, honestly, and it began with a project team where we decided that we would like to administer psychometric testing to our students. We decided that we would like to come up with our own. It's a homegrown, or rather, we devised it here in Universiti Malaya. And we had identified a team of people who are experts in the field who would be able to come up with a psychometric test specifically for our students. As you can see in the screen, these were the people who had began the project and this initiative. Yeah? As you can see, there's a team from the Faculty of Education, Dr. Haris, Dr. Rafida, and Dr. Xiao. In fact, the same team also came up with psychometric tests for staff. Okay, so apart from that, because this is actually placed in Chitra, so of course our colleagues from Chitra were very heavily involved as well. So we have the Pengarah herself, Associate Professor Dr. Wendy, Dr. Pomala, and Dr. Rohana, who is also from the Faculty of Computer Science and IT. And more recently, as the project progressed, we had included Dr. Kasturi from Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology, as well as Dr. Iskandar Abdullah, who is from HEP, the Student Affairs Department, and he is also from the Faculty of Science. So I just want to start it off by acknowledging these people who had started this project since a couple of years back and have continued to make progress in the project, and now we are ready to implement it. Okay. So basically what I had mentioned just now, through the profiling that we do in the psychometric testing, we would like to discover what kind of inclinations our students may have. And we would like to look at the traits in the character. We would like to see the traits in their personality and their mental strength of the students, so that we will be able to identify the traits that they may be weak in, and we will help them develop further. Yeah? And how do we do this? We do it in the teaching and learning portfolio, or rather in the gambit of teaching and learning and student development, and through precision intervention. And through this, we hope that we will be able to develop our students into leaders of the future. So basically, what we are doing, what I will be talking about today really is the kinds of initiatives that we're doing, and we have to understand that we're doing it for the sake of our students. We are really invested in our students, and we want to make sure that everything we do with our students will be for their benefit in order for them to be truly successful in life in the future. Okay? So, as I mentioned just now, firstly, we developed a UM-based inventory. Okay? We didn't, take it from anywhere because there are countless psychometric tests out there in the market, but we decided that we want to do it in-house. We have the experts, and we know exactly what we would like and what kind of goals that we would like to meet. So the goals is actually to produce future-ready graduates, not just future-ready graduates. We've heard a lot of that, and that is, that kind of phrase is thrown about in all universities. But what we want is to inculcate the graduate DNA. So that's why it has to be a homegrown inventory system. So how did we go about doing it? We identified the gaps that are in the employability readiness of our students. So Chitra, as you know, is the PTJ under the TNCA and A portfolio that is largely responsible for student development, because they do internship, they do all kinds of courses, the general-based, broad-based kind of courses, and all that is placed under Chitra. So what they have done together with the team is to do surveys. The surveys may not be very extensive, but the survey is done, is administered to our industry partners, because they are the ones who take in our interns. So we actually identified through the survey what kinds of soft skills that our students are missing. So that's one of the ways that we had identified the gaps in our students in terms of them being ready for employment. So there are soft skills and there are psychological capital attributes that we have identified among students. And we provide specific interventions, and this is what we are intending to do, to ensure that our graduates are future ready and equipped with the core values. Now, another reason why we wanted to do it in-house is because it's cost effective. Thank goodness we had the research funds for us to be able to carry out this project. And the psychometric test belongs to So, once this is rolled out, hopefully the team will be able to register and get IP for it and, copyright it, patent it, whatever, and sell it to other universities. And because it's an in-house inventory, we will be able to do continuous improvement on it as necessary and continue to tweak the psychometric test from time to time. Okay? So this is what it means by the soft skills that we would like to inculcate in our students: communication skills, teamwork, leadership skills, creativity, entrepreneurship, and this is what it means by psychological capital. We want our students to be resilient, we want them to be adaptable, we want them to have mindfulness, integrity, grit, as well as emotional intelligence. Okay, so basically these are the traits that we are identifying in the psychometric test. Now, the test is ready, The test is ready to be piloted, and we are going to do it, and this is March already. We are doing it in March, okay? So the pilot test will be this month, okay, to 3,000 students. And once we do the analysis and we identify some, perhaps, some items that maybe need to be tweaked and improved on, we will officially launch it in October. That's when the semester starts for the academic session of 2021-2022. Okay, so we are ready, all right? And this is how it looks. When the student, they will be instructed. They will be instructed on where to go. So the psychometric test actually will be able to identify. They will have to fill in the details, of course, of the faculty, department, program, and so on. So these are the kinds of questions that they will be asked. And the way the team had, come up with it, they ensured that the questions are answered in a very speedy manner, in a speedy way, so that they will be able to answer honestly and truthfully. And this is the dashboard. This is what the dashboard will look like. And, in the dashboard, we will be able to see the individual students' traits as far as integrity is concerned, emotional intelligence, adaptability, and all that. So that will be the score that you are seeing on the screen, as well as the feedback, the description of the student. So the student will have access to this. Once he or she takes this psychometric test, he or she will be able to get access to this, and he or she can actually look at what kinds of traits that they need to improve on. Okay? Now, the beauty of this is, once it's ready, it will be accessible to all of us as well as lecturers. Faculties will have access to this, student affairs will have access to this, and the idea is when the lecturer, before the lecturer goes into class, the lecturer will be able to look at the list of names of the students that he or she has in the class, and then straight away look at the profile for the student. Okay, so then the lecturer will be able to identify the students who may need help in certain areas. So it is kind of up to the lecturer and up to the department to be able to come up with ways and means to help the student build himself in certain areas that they are a bit weak in. Yeah, maybe for example, if from the results of the psychometric test, maybe the student has a little bit of weakness in teamwork, then maybe he's a bit reserved, then they should be able to do something in the class activities in order to hone the skill that the student lacks in. That's just one example. Maybe he lacks in communication skills, so maybe the lecturer will be able to, plan so that that particular student will have the opportunity to speak up more in class. Maybe he's just shy and sitting at the back of the class, and maybe he can be drawn into speaking and participating more in class. So these are some of the examples and some of the illustrations of what the psychometric test is and how we might be able to be very precise in our intervention activities, okay? Now, apart from the faculty, okay, as you can see at the bottom, faculties can plan for suitable precision intervention for their students according to their psychometric test results. So it may be at the class level, it may be at the class as in the classroom level, or it may be at the department level, or it may be at the faculty level, depending on, what they see as the results of the psychometric test. Beyond that, centrally, HEP also will be able to conduct some of these programs, which have already been identified actually, for students to be able to hone, firstly, their communication skills, leadership skills, and teamwork, critical thinking and problem solving, and so on. So it will be multi-pronged. It's not going to be the responsibility of only one PTJ. It has to be multi-pronged in that everybody should be responsible for the development of the student. Okay? So we have been doing this. It's not like we have not been doing this. But the way we are doing it this time is that it's very precise. We know exactly what the students' weaknesses may be, and we will be able to help in that particular aspect. So that's the difference this time. Okay? So I'm moving on. The Q&A will be later, okay? So I feel like as if I've just sped through the whole thing. So I hope you're digesting everything. I'm sure you will be able to see this, you can see this again because it's recorded. Okay, I'm moving on next to the second initiative, which is called the Elite at UM program. Now, elite actually, it's not that we are trying to be elitist or anything like that, because some people actually say UM is very elitist, but no, that's not what we're doing. Elite actually stands for Experiential Learning with Industry and Technocrats at UM. Okay, I'll explain to you what this is all about. But basically, the whole idea is for us to be more engaged with the industry so that we will have a more sustainable relationship with the industry as well as with our alumni. Okay, so the Elite at UM program, again, it has to do with developing the students. Okay, so that's our core business, and that's where we are invested in. Students are our business, and it's our responsibility to, to actually give them all the tools that they need in order for them to succeed. Okay, at the workplace, in the industry, as well as life in general. Okay. This might be familiar to you if you have been paying attention to the Vice Chancellor's Perutusan a couple of months back. Or was it only last month? It was only last month. So he had used this graph to illustrate our relationship with the industry and how the industry actually participates in our program in the university. Yeah, because they are involved in our final year project co-supervision. We give them we give our students industrial exposure. Our students go for internship and so on and so forth. They are very involved, or they should be very involved in our curriculum review. And of course, we have partnerships with them for grants, spin-offs, and all kinds of collaboration. But basically, the figure here shows a continuum of our relationship with the industry and how we might be able to engage with them more and more. This is an illustration of what's already happening, but we want to do more. Okay? The objective of the Elite at UM program basically is to provide opportunities for experts and eminent individuals in the industries to share their knowledge and experience with UM students. We would like to provide that avenue. We would like to provide that relationship. We would like to provide that avenue, and we would like to provide the opportunity for our alumni and the industry to come onto campus and to share their knowledge and experience with our students. Okay? Also, to provide alumni opportunities to give back to their alma mater. So, are we doing work with the industry? Yes. Are we engaging with them? Yes. Have they been coming to us to give talks? Yes, they have been doing that. Have they been coming to see our undergraduate students, postgraduate students, and our colleagues on campus? Yes, we are already doing that. And these photos actually is testimony to that. As you can see this, I think you will be able to recognize the Dean of the Faculty of Business and Accountancy there, and colleagues from the Faculty of Business and Accountancy. They had engaged with the CEO and Executive Director of CIMB Group at one time, okay, when he came to give a talk, to all the students and staff. Okay? Can you recognize the guy? His name is there, Tengku Zafrul bin Tengku Abdul Aziz. Of course, he's not doing that anymore. But just some more examples of how the Faculty of Business and Accountancy engages with the industry. And this is the CEO of Fidelity Asia Bank. Some more examples, and this is from the Faculty of Built Environment, where we had Dato' A.R. Haji Hajida Abdul Majid come and speak with our students in a talk, in a forum, in a seminar. And of course, the eminent Hijaz bin Kasturi, who came and gave a talk. He came and gave a talk at the Faculty of Built Environment. So these are some of the industry engagement that we already have in place. And we are not replacing this, okay? Some of these people are our adjunct professors. Some of them, are really very eminent persons that the faculties have already been engaging with. They've come to give talks, they've come and met with our students, they've come to give advice on projects and so on. That's not going to stop, okay, because that really, really enriches our programs, that really enriches the faculties and widens the widens the horizon for our students as well as our staff. So we're not putting that aside at all. Okay? Why do we do this? Now, we can read this. Obviously, when we do this, it really, really creates an impact among our students, because the industry engagement that we do with the students, it gives them an idea of what they might do after they graduate. It enhances their communication skills. And it gives them, it's a real eye-opener of it's really an eye-opener because they learn about what they can do with their degree, what they can do with whatever they are learning in the classroom by listening to these eminent speakers. So, basically, what we want to do in the Elite at UM program is to expand this further, okay? Now, we know that we have been doing this with different segments of our students and our staff. But what we want to do in the Elite at UM program is we would like to engage with more of them, not necessarily just, adjunct professor level, but maybe those who have had 10 years working experience, 15 years working experience in the field, and if we feel that they would be really, really good for our students to learn from, because our students may be, that our students come into our programs not necessarily as their first choice. We all know that. That's the reality of it. And they may end up taking up a major which they have no idea what they are going to do with. Once they come into the program, they may not even know what this program is all about before they came in. And once they are in the program, they may still not know what they're going to do with whatever they have, with whatever they are learning. Okay? So, by bringing in the industry into the classroom to put context into whatever it is that they are learning, that is going to create such an impact on them, and they will be able to see how they can relate whatever that they are learning out there into the world. Because this example is right in front of them. This example, this elite at fellow who is from the industry is telling them how they are going to apply what they are learning in the classroom. Okay? So you may say that it is from the field into the classroom and from the classroom into the field, So basically, what we would like is to be able to identify people who will be able to come into our classroom in a structured way, not to come to our faculty and give a talk to everybody. But what we want to do is to invite them as a fellow to give a lecture in the classroom that you are offering, in a course that you are offering. So it is structured into your class schedule. It is structured into your courses. So the responsibility, or rather what we expect them to do, is to give structured lectures in courses offered by the faculties, sharing holistic industrial experiences even beyond the specialization maybe. So elite at fellows, that's what we are going to appoint them as. Elite at fellows will be given the option, well, we are going to pay them, right? But we also want to give them an option to not be paid. Some of them actually may want to come into our classroom because they want to give back to their alma mater, because they want to contribute to the university. Okay? So we want to also give them the option to channel their payment to the various different causes. For example, we have a tabung kebajikan pelajar B40. And maybe we can also tell them that actually we would like to collect, enough funds to be able to buy laptops for our students. And any other kinds of opportunities for them to contribute. So we will give them that opportunity. We will prepare. In fact, it's already prepared. We just need to amend the letters and the borangs, accordingly. But we will actually give them an offer letter as an elite at fellow that will indicate that this is, we hope that, they might be able to volunteer. And then whatever payment that they would like to donate might be able to use for such and such purposes. So we will be preparing that for the faculty to give them this option. Okay? And the faculties, what will the faculties need to do? Faculties prepare, or rather to provide the facilities like a shared common room, a shared parking bay. Well, you know already when he's coming because you've already scheduled him in. So prepare a parking spot for him, and we will ensure that he has a car sticker, and we will, also invite him to use our library and our facilities. Okay? Now, I talked a little bit about the possibility of payment and him getting payment and so on, right? But I also want to present to you that we actually have so many MOUs with the industry. We have signed, hundreds of MOUs and MOAs with the industry. So what we would like to propose is we would like you to approach these partners of yours, because when we sign the MOU, it is with the faculties. It is the faculty that actually, agrees to work together with the industry. So we would like for you to be able to approach the industry. We can do it together, central as well as the faculty, approach the industry and just ask them, through this MOU, do you think you might be able to, volunteer maybe 15 or 20 of your staff to come to campus and, teach on particular courses. And Dato' Hamdi has done this himself. He has already mentioned this to 2 different industries to ask them whether they are willing, but these are the big guns, these are the CEOs and all. So, basically he just asked them, will you be willing to, volunteer some of your staff to come to campus and teach on our courses? He said, yeah, no problem, for free. No payment needed. That is the idea of having this MOU signed. That's the idea of having this relationship with the industry. And, we will be able to do that. And, you'd be surprised at how many will actually come forward or have already come forward to say that they would like to be a part of this. So it's just a matter of getting started now. Okay, and for people to understand what this is all about and for us to get started with this. Okay, remember, we are doing this for our students. Can you imagine what kind of impact it will have on our students? Rather than just having you and I come into the class and teach the class on this and that. But this is practical implementation of whatever they are learning in the class. So these are some examples of the MOUs that we have signed. Panasonic, only recently, with Faculty of Computer Science and Information Technology. Let's approach Panasonic, Prosamim, FSKTM. Let's approach them and ask them whether they are willing to volunteer 15, 20 names. And then we have signed with Huawei. We have signed with City Malaysia, again, FPP. And at the top, Dato' Rahim had signed. At that time, I think Prof. Aziz was the dean, and that is with Celcom. So let's approach the industry. Let's approach them and ask if they are willing to send 15 or 20 people to come and teach in our courses. Okay? So what will the faculty have to do? We already have some names. We've already got some CVs and we've already got some names, and we will be disseminating this to you. But apart from that, you also have names. You also have your partnerships. You also have your connections and your networks that you can reach out to. So what we need for the faculties to do is to propose suitable names for appointment as Elite at UM Fellows. And where will you send these names and the CVs to? To BSM. So it's going to work in the same way as how we work out the part-timers. Okay? Send to BSM. Of course, faculty will have to look through and, decide, and, you'll have your usual department meeting, management meeting, and so on. Okay? So once you decide, send these names to BSM for these fellows to be appointed. Okay? You need to identify a person at the faculty to be the contact point. We are suggesting that you might as well appoint, or rather add on this responsibility to the responsibility to your industrial liaison person. Okay? Because you already have an industrial liaison person who have been working with the industry for internships, right? And then the third thing that the faculty will need to do is to liaise with the fellows on their availability and to teach the topics that they are interested to teach in. Okay? So you will show the topics and then look at their availability and then look at the teaching schedule so that you will be able to plan for the semester. Let's just say they come 3 times per semester. Okay, 2 hours each time. So they have to be able to slot that into their schedule. And then, of course, you have to monitor, right? So you will have to monitor the teaching activities and maybe some other engagement activities that you might want to be doing with them. And then, this is a repeat from the previous slide. You need to identify common rooms, maybe shared parking spaces, and so on. Okay, and what other kinds of office facilities that you might be able to provide. This is a university effort. Okay, all PTJs need to commit, right? And we have been in discussions. We have been in many discussions, and we have involved so many different parts of the university. Under the VC's office, we have engaged with Cik Khairi, who is here in the hall, CCO, and we have already, included Cik Min from Sharia. Under the TNC A&A portfolio, Chitra is actually the central PTJ that is responsible for this. Chitra will be the coordinating PTJ and working very closely with BSM on this. Okay. Of course, IRO, MRC are also involved. Under TNC PNI, we have the gym, we have UMCIC involved. Under the registrar's office, we have the BSM, because we have to get the appointment letters from BSM. And also security office will have to be informed. And TNCP's office, we've had discussions with PTM. Of course, PPHP also will have to be involved. And, just in case our elite tech fellow would like to use our sports facilities also, that's open to them. Library and all academic PTJs. So you see, this is actually a whole university effort. All PTJs will have to be committed to ensure that this is a success and this is sustainable. We have to make sure that this actually will have a very, very long shelf life, because we want this to be able to benefit all our students and not just this cohort of students. Yeah, so we will be able to continue to benefit our students in their student development. So as mentioned just now, these are the coordinating central PTJs. Chitra will be coordinating and recording the elite at UM fellows, together with BSM, who will be dealing with the appointments as well as the claims. When the PTJ actually identifies the people that they would like to be engaged with, they will provide the brief CV, work out the teaching plan, and so on, and then pass that on to BSM for these fellows to be appointed. Okay, and then all other relevant PTJs also will be involved, as I mentioned just now, the security office, the PTM, and because we would like to have we would like to have a systematic database of all these UM elite at UM fellows. Yeah. Okay. If I don't mention this, I know it will come up in the Q&A. Where is the money coming from? In case they want to be paid, what we are hoping for is that they will volunteer. But in case they want to be paid, the money will be coming from Central. Okay, we've already worked it out. Okay, so each time they come to run a class, we expect them to come, for 2 hours, for a 2-hour lecture. So each time they come for a 2-hour lecture, maybe we pay them 300 ringgit. Maybe not. Maybe we can ask them, instead of, the 300 ringgit, would you like to put the 300 ringgit in this whatever, tabung or initiative that the faculty may have for, to help the faculty, to help the students and so on. So we don't have to worry about the funds. The funds will be at Central, and you just make the claims as how you would do for part-time lecturers. Okay? Okay, so that's the second part. Moving on to the third part, the third initiative. If I can just pause for a drink. Excuse me, yeah? Okay, this is the last one. Teaching and learning delivery and assessment. This is not anything new. I've talked about this, I think, 2 or 3 times, maybe even more. But then I just want to bring it up again to show you how everything will tie together. Okay? So again, with reference to the Vice Chancellor's slides earlier, when he gave his Perutusan, in terms of teaching and learning delivery and assessment, he mentioned about the assessment being, from multi-perspectives. So far, what we have done is we have only looked at course delivery assessment through the CTES. It's only through the CTES, and it's only coming from the student's point of view. So now what he had mentioned in his talk was that we would like for other perspectives to also come in. And it's not meant to find faults. We have to have the right perspective on this. We have to have the right attitude towards this. Basically, we would like to be able to improve ourselves. Like, we have been teaching all these years. We cannot seriously just depend on CTES. We would like to be able to, receive other kinds of feedback for the purpose of improvement. Okay? So this is something that is already, we had already talked about this a lot because this is the pointer system for the KPI for teaching and learning. What we would like is for us to be able to look at the course delivery and to assess in terms of the instructional materials, assessment methods, exam questions, and then come up with self-reflection and then triangulate that with the CTES. Okay? Now, I had indicated earlier that these marks will actually be given by a committee that is appointed by the PTJ. So basically, this is up to the dean and up to the faculty to appoint the right committee to be able to look at the course design in terms of these items. And well, this is just a run-through, a very quick run-through of what the CTES looks like now. Because this is new. Last semester was the first time that we had used this version of the CTES. Okay, so this is what we are using now. Part A is on course evaluation. The students have an opportunity to give us an evaluation of whether the course is relevant, whether the content corresponds to the learning outcomes and the teaching and assessment schedule and so on and so forth. So this is from the student's perspective. And then we have part B, which is an evaluation of the course teaching or the course delivery, whether they actually clearly understood the delivered course content, course learning outcomes are achieved, and so on and so forth. Now, this is the part that we are paying attention to in order for us to be able to, in a sense, triangulate, maybe not fully, but at least it's an attempt to look at the teaching and learning from a different perspective. What do we mean by course design? There are 3 items, three main items. One is instructional materials, and what we'll be looking at in the instructional materials is that whether the materials prepared are appropriate and whether they are aligned to the learning outcome. Now the committee that's appointed by the PTJ will do random sampling in spectrum. What will they be looking for? They'll be looking at the slides, they'll be looking at modules, maybe not everything, but at least they can sample and look at whether the materials that the lecturer had prepared were appropriate or not, and whether they were aligned to the learning outcomes. Secondly, they will also be looking at whether there was constructive feedback given. Now, what will they be looking for? In spectrum as well. There'll be quizzes, there'll be communication with the students. So this kind of feedback we will also be assessing, because you know that students are always complaining that the lecturer doesn't give them feedback, that they don't know how they are doing because they just sit for the test, they just do the assignment, you know, halfway through the semester, and they don't know how they did. That's not how it's supposed to work. And then thirdly, the course reference materials are comprehensive and up to date. So of course, that is something that you can also look at through the course information form. The second big item is the assessment methods, whether there was a variety of assessment methods used, and whether there was appropriate rubrics or marking scheme. So what do we look at? We'll be looking at the alternative assessments used, or whether the assessment methods were innovative or not. These are just examples. There may be more, but these are just examples. Okay? And then monitoring. Because we want to ensure that vetting is done. And when vetting is done, you know, we want to make sure that there is a proper vetting committee, and then, you know, the comments made, the suggestions made are taken up. Lastly, the third big topic, exam questions and results. So we would like to ensure the quality of the exam questions are there. Okay, we want to make sure there is quality in the kinds of exams and assessment methods that we use. So the exam questions should be relevant to the intended learning outcome. So again, it's very easily accessible. It's, you know, you'll be looking at the questions, whether they reflect the outcome or not. Whether the exam questions are appropriate to the level of the course. Are they too low level? Are they, you know, too high level? So the committee will have to be looking at that, and to ensure that the assessment will be testing on higher order thinking skills. You know, schools are actually implementing higher order thinking skills. So we have to ensure we go a step higher, or even 2 or 3 steps higher. The exam questions and the results should be analyzed. Okay, so that's the final part. Now I just, okay, one more. We talked about self-reflection, and there's no right or wrong way that you might want to do self-reflection. These are just some examples of some of the notes that you might want to use for self-assessment. And basically, we just want to see that people actually do this, because the idea is you want to reflect and you want to be able to identify ways that you might be able to improve in the coming semesters. This is my last slide. I mentioned this a few times. Why are we doing this? The ultimate goal is to develop our students. We can give them all kinds of, you know, theories and whatever, you know, the course content may be. We want to be able to equip them with the right knowledge in the major subjects that they are taking in their degree program. So we want them to be good engineers. We want them to be good mathematicians. We want them to be good historians. But we don't want them to be just that. That's why there was great effort this past couple of years in looking at the curriculum of all the programs. We would like to see that the curriculum is holistic. We would like to see that the curriculum doesn't take care only of the major courses. We also want to be able to give the students the flexibility of taking courses outside of their field. So that's why we had introduced the student holistic empowerment courses, where they will be able to, think critically. That should be the courses that is under the subject cluster of thinking matters. Because we want our students to be able to do critical thinking and problem solving. We also want them to be able to be in touch with their emotional, physical, and spiritual intelligence. We want them to have heart, body, and soul. So that's the other subject cluster that we introduced. We want them to have knowledge in data analytics, for instance. We want them to have some background on, on technology. So we introduced the iTechie subject cluster. And lastly, we need them to be knowledgeable about the world, outside of their own world. So we introduced the global issues and community sustainability in order for them to be able to reach out and make the world a better place. So that's one part of our effort this past couple of years. Beyond that, we want to make sure that whatever else is lacking in them, we will be able to conduct intervention programs and be very precise in zeroing in on what they need to hone. What do we need to pay attention to in order to help them further in developing their soft skills? What aspects of the soft skills that they might be lacking in? What else can we do to help them? That's the purpose of the Precision Intervention Program. And lastly, the Elite at UM program. We want them to be able to see how whatever they are learning in the classroom will be applied once they leave the university. We want to be able to bring the world to them, so that they will not be, in a culture shock when they actually exit the university and be a part of the world. I think that's my last slide. Right, no, there's one more point. The point that I started out in the beginning. Why do we do all this? Because we want to produce leaders among our students. We want to be able to produce leaders among our students and set them apart from everybody else. How? By creating future-ready graduates with the UM DNA or the UM graduate student attributes. They need to be critical thinkers, they need to be problem solvers, they need to be adaptable, and they need to have they need to be lifelong learners and good communication skills. One item is not there. We need them to have integrity. That's one trait that we identified in the psychometric test. Okay? Thank you. I guess it's time for the sesi soal jawab. So we have, would the pilot test apply to clinical students? Is it going to be applied to clinical students? Yes. Okay, the clinical students will be doing BMAT. So we will see how that might actually correlate, okay? So perhaps we can have a further discussion on that with the faculty. How do we make sure that such tests will not create immediate prejudices against the students, especially students who are neuroatypical? The intention may be good, but society is judgmental. I think the information gleaned from the metrics need to be positioned within a more collaborative relationship. That's a very good point, isn't it? I'm sure this is something that would be in, everybody's mind. Thank you for that. Thank you for that comment, and we will look into that to make sure that we do this in the best way possible. Like I said, this whole thing, all the initiatives that we're doing really is for the students. So we want to make sure that we do things right for the students. Can we also find out what attributes that our students excel at? I believe our graduates have our DNA already. True? Finding out gaps is fine, but I think it's too negative. Let's be positive and also celebrate what our students are already good at. True, that's very true. But then at the same time, the psychometric test will also be taking care of that because there's a score. So through the psychometric test results, we will not only be looking at the gaps. Yes, maybe I had focused on that a bit too much, but the psychometric test will also identify what the students' strengths are. So we will be able to hone those strengths and strengthen those traits. Also by precision intervention. So we can create more activities, we can create more programs to make them excel even further. Okay? Soalan dari Zoom. Does it mean that there will be a special post for these elite professionals to come and teach, not giving public lectures, but in actual classes? Yes. They will not be given post as in, being an employee of Universiti Malaya, no. But they will be appointed as elite at UM fellows. So what they will be doing is they will be coming into actual classes. Of course, this has to be discussed with the lecturer concerned, with the department concerned, and they will take up, up to maybe 6 slots of the class. How much per hour? We expect them to teach for, at each time, 2 hours each time. We have allocated 300 ringgit for that duration. But like I said just now, we are hoping that, because many of them will be coming on a voluntary basis, so we are hoping that they might be able to channel whatever we are supposed to be paying them into a different fund for the faculty. For example, for tabung kebajikan B40 or faculty such and such. Okay, maybe there's another something else that the faculty wants to do for the students. We can actually create that channel also for them. Is there a division of funds for different PTJs or for each PTJ? There will be a certain amount of funds to cover the payments for these elites who come to teach. Surely some would like to be paid. Okay, I think I had answered that. Yes, there will be funds, and they will be treated like our part-timers. So faculty will organize it, faculty will, coordinate the whole thing. If payment needs to be made, then the faculty will make the claims to BSM. Okay, just like with other part-timers. Okay. Dr. Kupu, who will be making the assessment of exam questions and the results? How could this be done? This is done at the faculty level. Like I said, the faculty will have to appoint the committee that will be looking at this. This is kind of like peer assessment, kan? So if preferably people who are looking at this may be people who are in the field. Okay, but again, that is up to the faculty. I think the psychometric test should be used for entry requirement for all programs so that we have a minimum level to work on. Dr. Zulkhairi, yes, I completely agree with you. but our students come through the UPU stream, the Perdana stream. So we will not be able to interfere at that level. So they will have to come in first, because when they come in, it is through the requirements that we set for each program. So we should actually already know they have come in at that quality. But then when we do the psychometric test, we are zeroing in further. Okay, so the minimum level is already there. So what we want to do is to hone the skills further. Okay, soalan tamat. All right, so that's it. Nothing coming in live. Okay. Phew. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody. There you are. So there's quite a few of you. I see some familiar names. Thank you so much for joining me. Hi. Oh, hi. And also, bye. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a very good day. Stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Universiti